So it's another beautiful day here in Sequim. That's why we live here. Something Charlie said a long time ago. He told me there's something spiritual about this place, and there is. I don't know. I go away from here. There's something pulling me back. I don't know what it was. It was Madelyn. You know, we jokingly said through our marriage and stuff that she prayed harder for me to see me again than I did to die. And you know, all that my 10,000 mile odyssey, that I had a great time in 2018. 6 months, put 10,000 miles on my truck, driving the western half of the state of Washington. Just watching this Nick Zentner on Central Washington University. Puts out these YouTube videos, and he's talking about all these places, man. The Great Ice Age floods and the extinct volcanoes. I mean, there's hundreds of them. The volcanoes here, the mud flow from Rainier, the last time it erupted, then it's going to do it again, and it's going to wipe out Tacoma. It's going to be under 600 feet of mud. Anyway. So I'm going to watch, look at all these places, and it was really cool, man. I had a great time, but I kept coming back to Sequim, and there was nothing here, man. I'd never live with my mom again. I spoke to my mom once after I left in 2016. She drove me away. There was no way I could be around her, man. My inner child said, John, if you open that door one more time, I'm gonna run away. I mean, we cannot expose ourselves to being hurt by her ever again. And so 2015, I went on the cruise with Madison. I come back thinking I'll get a job real quick. God, 2.5, 3 months later, I finally get a job. I changed careers again. I moved here 2013. I worked for from August of 2013 till next year, August, at O'Reilly's. I had a great time I was their sales specialist for Sequim, and I'd go out one day a week and make sales calls on just all these different businesses, even ones that weren't had anything to do with automobiles, but they were commercial. So I had fun doing that. It was nice when I could put my map away and I knew where I was going finally, and then plus walk into all these places and they have these cute receptionists and I get to go talk to them once a week, and I loved it. And then I went to work for Jiffy Lube for a year, and that I hated it. I hated having to work outdoors again. I hated being outdoors. I hated doing that. I hated getting grease on my shirts. It just was, oh man. So I quit that, and that's when I quit that. I went on the cruise with Madison. I didn't have a job when I came back, and so I come back and I'm just going through and I see senior caregivers, and the first place I called was Home Instead. I think I called 3 places, and they were the first ones to get me in the door, for an appointment. And I go in, I met Kelsey, man. She was this heavy-set girl, but man, she was cute. Oh, I wish I'd been 20 years younger. She'd have been in trouble, but Kelsey, she hired me on the spot, and I became a caregiver, and it's the only job I've ever had where the company procedures I had to learn. I had to, they go in and they do perfunctory training to get you out there, and then you have 6 months to get your license. So, you're out there working, but you're not licensed yet, but it's legal. And, so I start doing that, and one of the things that first off was I was taking care of Jim and Josephine McKay. They were this Irish couple, lived up the hill here off of Sequim Avenue. I guess he graduated college, however they do it back there. It's not, I don't think it's the same as here, but it was like a different type of school, they called it, or something. But he graduated as an aircraft mechanic, and then the two of them traveled all over the world. And she talked about living in Australia, New Zealand, England. He just all over. He would go. I think he worked for United. So he made a lot of money, and oh man, he'd had a stroke and had wiped out, I think, the right side of his body, and so he was around in a wheelchair all day or in bed. And I was taking care of them, you know, whatever, how many hours a week, 20 hours a week. And then as a caregiver, you know, you're taking care of people and they become your people. I mean, this is my guy. You know, Jim and Josephine McKay were not my guy. But at the same time, I was taking care of Peter Blanchard up in Port Angeles here. And he had Parkinson's and Lewy bodies. And those two always seem to go hand in hand. So I'm taking care of him. Man, he was my first hallucination. I had to walk through his hallucination with them. That's they teach you how to do that. That you just, you know, you don't argue with them. You don't tell them, you know, oh, you're not seeing that. That's not real. I mean, you just go, okay, man, they are seeing it, and you know, you walk along and you get them through it. And it was weird because Peter and I were sitting on the couch. We would come in at 10 o'clock and take over for his wife so she could go get in bed and get some sleep. That poor woman. And you know, Pete would he'd go to bed and he'd go to sleep and he'd sleep for 20 minutes and then get up and ready to go. And then so you know, we had a nightly ritual. We always ate something, usually a bowl of cereal, about 1 o'clock in the morning. Did the shuffle to the bathroom. He used a walker. Pete was had been a U.S. forest ranger here from like Quilcene to Forks. I mean, that was his area. He was a forest ranger out here up in those mountains. And you know, he used to tell me stories and just places. And there are hot springs up there and some just dynamite fishing that nobody ever gets to. And you know, I'm going. Pete was about, I think he was pushing 80. I think he was like 78, 79. And he you know, he needed help. His Parkinson's Lewy body, it was bad. You know, I could deal with them. You know, when it takes you, you know, 2.5 minutes to get from the living room to the bathroom and it's only 25 feet, you know, come on. But I have the patience to deal with them. And, you know, sometimes they get stuck too, man. They just can't move. You know, you kind of got to, you know, reach down and move their leg forward or something and just kind of, you know, you got to something because they just get locked in position sometimes and they just can't move. And it's bizarre, man, because you're just going, you know, you think it's so easy. But anyway, so Pete was, I mean, he was a tough one. He was towards the end that I was taking care of him. I think it was like late spring of 2016. That I was taking care of Pete, and he was getting violent. He was starting to get violent at Patsy, his wife, and that was you know, kind of hard to see. You know, he never got violent with me, but you know, she was getting bad. And I think what she finally did was she finally just walked into the VA with him and sat him down and said, "Take care of him. I can't." And they did, which you know I thought was cool, but. You know, he was my guy. Pete was, I mean, any other caregiver came in, man, you know, they were going to answer to me if something wasn't right. I mean, they were going to be taken care of. I didn't give a shit. It wasn't about money for me. It was about taking care of people. Always has been. You know, I have this calling. I can do it. I'm very, very good at it. It pisses me off that I can't do it right now, this COVID thing, and you know, I said I was going to get to my health license, but so my whole point on Pete and the McKays was that the boss of Homestead comes and, you know, we're in a meeting and she goes, "Yeah, you're taking care of our 2 toughest customers, and I am just a brand new newcomer, not even have a license, and caregiving was the only job I ever walked into that I didn't need to be trained, man. You take care of people, you take care of people. It's the same. Doesn't matter their age, you know, you keep them clean, fed, you know, satisfied, whatever, entertained, you know, whatever you got to do, you know, and I'm good at it. So I you know, I knew about the 2-year thing, and, you know, when Madelyn and I, you know, I came back and she brought me back to life, everything else went out the window. She was everything to me. The state of Washington, they had 3 different investigators going after me. It was weird because I got through the questioning with Rod Johnson. I thought he was the coolest one. They took him off, I think, because he was too cool to me. He probably went in there and said, John's not an issue, you know, it's a waste of time. And they said, well, we want to go after him. So, you know, he came out, he took our statement and sat there and he kind of sympathized with me of my, you know, Christ Odyssey and stuff. And then Wendy Jackson came on, and she was going to make her career on me, and shut her down. Stupid blonde bitch. You know, if I ever get the money to, I'm going to get an attorney and go after her job. There's a couple jobs I want. I want the deputy kitchen's job. What that motherfucker did to me. What he took from me. So, you know, I come back and I start spending every day with Madelyn, and she's fighting these squatters. And to me, her squatters weren't as big a deal as what I was going through against the state and everybody, all of Madelyn's, everybody thought that I was exploiting Madelyn, taking advantage of her, that, you know, and nobody could see past that. You know, I look at it from the outside and I would have gone, you know, yeah, there's something weird there, you know, 20 years older. But then again, there was probably something really weird when she married a man 43 years older than she was and made it work. Go, You know, I think I'm that, you know, 1 out of 1,000 that I wasn't, you know, any other time a man, like in my situation and a woman in Madelyn's, it would have seemed like. So, you know, we're living at the hotels. It's just me and her. We shared so much. I'd go sit outside and we'd sit there and smoke cigarettes. And I was smoking cigars at the time, and we just sit knee to knee. She's, you know, I loved her walker because it instantly just turned into a chair. I mean, into a seat. And she just turned around and sit on it, and, you know, everybody else is standing around and she's sitting on it. No, anyway, so we'd be sitting there knee to knee, talking, looking each other's eyes, laughing, having fun. Just anytime I was around Madelyn, her inner child came out to play. One of the gifts she gave me was I got real comfortable with my inner child coming out, and I got real comfortable with me, and I could let him out in more open situations with more people around and be comfortable with me. And that was a true gift from Madelyn, because with her, there was no reserves, there was no holding back, there was no, I mean, I never thought that I'd have anything like that in my life, and I did with her. She truly was my wife. I truly was her husband. We completed each other, even though whatever. You know, we're living at the hotel. We're fighting the squatters, you know, getting jacked around by the attorneys. Bridge builder, we go in, we want bank statements. They said, oh, go to the bank, you can get copies. You know, Madelyn asked for them twice. I asked for them 3 times. They were giving us the runaround. They were supposed to hand everything to us. They were supposed to make copies and hand it to us. That's what Madelyn's attorney said. Oh, so, you know, before we got married, I mean, that's when we sat down, and Rod Johnson contacted me, and then I talked to him, and then I told him we were getting married, and he didn't remember me saying it. And I think we got married Monday, and he talked to us sitting down Friday, and, you know, it spiked every single gun. You know, the state, they must have had a $150,000 case against me with the amount of people and the paperwork I got. Someday I want to go up to my house and take all those envelopes I got from them and put them in order and go through them and go, you know. Anyway, I didn't play along with their game, and they couldn't take anything from me. You know, that was the thing, man. Nobody could take anything from me. Madelyn was my wife. Nobody could take anything from me. The only thing that mattered was Madelyn, and they couldn't take her. So, you know, kiss my ass, you honky motherfucker. That's a Cheech and Chong thing. Be impressed if you tell me which skit it is. Anyway, without looking up on Google. We went through that, and they went through and they took my license. I got the final thing. I think it was last July of 2019. My hearing was like July 3rd or something, right before 4th of July, and they, did that, and they sent me a thing saying my license, my health license, has been suspended for 5 years. I have to go do like 8.5 hours of sensitivity training. Have to pay I think it was a $250 fine. And it's like, fuck you. I'm never gonna be a caregiver for money ever again, man. You can't take that from me. And I think that really screwed them up because they're so used to people, oh, please don't take my health license. And here I am, fucking take it, man. I wish I would have had known where my health license was. And because it was still good. I hadn't, anyway, I would have sent it to him and said, you guys can shove this up your ass, man. I don't give a fuck about this because I will never, I'm a caregiver at heart. That's what it is. Way down deep inside is I'm a caregiver, and you can't take that from me. If I can go help, somebody, I've tried, Marguerite has a friend whose dad is, sounds like he needs help. I could help him, I think. This COVID environment now, it's like, yeah, right. I wish that I could just go out and volunteer 10, 15 hours a week. I mean, I think that I should do that just for my personal well-being, and my regimen of my week is just go help somebody else, and that's the most rewarding I ever am, is when I'm helping somebody else. I don't care, man. I had some really, really tough caregiving shifts, and it did not matter the rewards I came away with, just the feelings of satisfaction that I'd helped somebody, I'd gotten them through the night, I'd helped the spouse of the person, of my client, because that, like I said, I wish I'd had somebody to help me with Madelyn. I didn't need help with Madelyn. I just need somebody to help take care of me. And they pulled my health license, and I can no longer do this. And I found a career, changed careers again at 57 years of age. A couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, I was 56. And that got pulled away from me. So I'm sitting here. I pray every day, all day, I offer myself to you to build with me and do with me as you will. What do you want me to do now? I say this, tongue-in-cheek, but work your magic again, God, because you've done so many things in my life, and I've seen so many things that I can't explain. I'm going, this is not possible. The meth heads in AA that I saw, back in the crack days, whatever, that, when they first came in, they couldn't put a sentence together, and when they're, after a couple years, you see them and they're productive in society. They'll never be normal again, but they are, it's like you go, man, it's not, this doesn't happen. My brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, Kobe, man, he ex-meth head, and he got sober, and that's like, Kelly, my best friend from high school, Kelly Phillips, man, calling all you angels, man. You stepped up when I was 16, man. Had no clue, what you did for me. I thought you were gonna kick my ass, man. He was at least 4 or 5 inches taller than me. This half Mexican Irish motherfucker, and I'm like going, this guy's scaring the shit out of me. And I got this jock that plays football. He's like the running back for the football team. This little Mexican guy or something. And then his friend, who fucking, we were in shop class, and this guy, man, this big doofus guy, who's taller than me, man. We're cleaning up after the end of wood shop, and I'm standing on one side of this table. He takes an air hose and blows all this fucking dust right into my face, and I exploded, and I was going to kick his fucking ass out after class, man. I just run away from home, and when I was 16, at my grandparents, and started at South Eugene High School, man. And I go outside, man, and after class, we're out on the fields or whatever, and I'm gonna take this guy on, and this jock steps up. He's gonna jump in for this guy. I'm going, what are you, pussy or something? So anyway, and then Kelly steps in, and my heart dropped, and I got 3 of them, and Kelly stepped in for me, man. He was gonna kick that jock's ass, is what he's gonna do, because I could have handled the big guy by himself. He was a doofus, man. It just was, and we ended up not getting in a fight at all. And Kelly and I, find out he lives like two blocks from my grandparents. He lives in the shack out back, is what it was. I mean, it didn't have any water, had electricity, but it was just like 4 walls and whatever outer wall it was, a roof, and inside, and he had a water bed, and just, you know, we'd party and listen to music, and, you know, I'd get off work at 10:30, go hang at Kelly's till 11:15 or so, and then tell Grandma, oh yeah, I got to work late. She knew I was lying to her. My grandma had to have known. So, you know, whatever. Kelly and I both had 10 speeds. Eugene was wide open to us. We could go anywhere we wanted in Eugene. It didn't matter. Loved it. That I got a. How did I get off on my grandparents? I got a Centurion Super Le Mans. It's a touring bike, is I think what it was. It was heavier than a racing bike, and that thing became a part of my ass, man. That, you know, that bike was just, I could, you know, fly on that bike, and I was in such good shape too from riding. You know, it was like having the time of my life. I was thinking, you know, I could go back to the University of Oregon, man, you know, and get me a bike, man, and just go ride my ass off, and, you know, quit smoking and get back in shape. And so anyway, my health license was pulled, and you know, I sacrificed everything for Madelyn. You know, when that healthcare worker said, man, you pretty beat up, you know, when I went to the emergency, and, you know, my dignity, my, you know, it didn't matter. My wants, desires, you know, it was interesting because everything became filtered through what Madelyn needed, desired, wanted. You know, her desires were mine, her wants were mine. You know, I tried to anticipate without, you know, smothering. I think I'm good at that. I think I have a good gift at that, of being able to meet needs without taking away people's dignity. I'm sitting there spitting. It's the sun. That's the only reason you can see it. So I can no longer be a professional caregiver. Didn't have any plan of ever doing it again. If I get paid for the caregiving industry, it's going to be through counseling and working for an organization, some institution, somebody, you know. So I would do it again. I wish I could do it again, because I would give more than I did. You know, the times that I did get like frustrated, and I let Madelyn see that, man, I don't know if that contributed to her passing so much quicker, if she went, you know, oh God, I'm being a burden to John, and, you know, oh God, I can't, you know, I hope not, but, you know, I wish I would have done better. You know, the thing I love is that Madelyn woke up every day with love around her, even with all that hate and evil that was up there. And I protected her from that. I gave her the love she, you know, she deserved it, man. The way she was, her attorney, you know, even though the guy was swindling her, he calls her Saint Madelyn, man, and she was. She really was Saint Madelyn, man. She always thought about other people, things she did. You know, the squatters ended up in her house because she had it painted, and one of the painters was this guy, had his girlfriend and a son, and they had no place to live. So Madelyn said, well, you know, I'll give you 6 months free. And so, you know, and she was trying to get Jeanette DeWinter, that's her name. She was involved. She wasn't involved, but she was there when Madelyn was poisoned, or tried to be poisoned by Judy. Judy tried to poison Madelyn. And God, where was I? I was off on a tangent there.